Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to a Path of Exile crafting video. This one covers the new Heist Amulet bases focused in Simplex that were added in 3.23. For many builds, these are best in slot as crafted rares because of the doubling effect the implicits give. In this video, I'm going to cover several unique interactions with crafting currency that is not well understood or has been misreported. Then I'm going to update the wiki page so that everyone has access to the same information. And finally, I'm going to do a few example crafts with these bases so you can save yourself the mirror you spent 3 weeks magic finding for and invest in other parts of your build instead. The example crafts I've chosen I personally know have been mirrored several times, and each of which costs somewhere between a lot less to slightly less to craft on a white base. Feel free to jump to whichever timestamp interests you the most. One of the downsides of ultra rare bases with weird crafting properties is that it's very costly to experiment to see what works. So before we go any further, I want to show that I've added all this information I'm about to show you to the wiki, and you can reference it there if you don't want to rewatch this video. I've included links to both in the description below. First, there are two methods to producing a magic base with the modifier you want on it. This has been widely misreported and was until just a few minutes ago incorrect on the wiki. I've since fixed it, and let me demonstrate both of them for you. Method 1, and the better known, is with a split beast. This involves some RNG, as if you want a magic base with a prefix on it and you have two prefixes, there is a chance it will roll both prefixes on the same base and you'll be left with an empty magic amulet and a rare with both prefixes. You can mitigate this by doing it only with one prefix and one suffix, but in my example here, I wanted to isolate all skill gems and I didn't feel like re-rolling it, so I just YOLO'd it with a split beast. The second method, and by far the lesser known, is rolling a mod you want on the base with chaos orbs or essences or fossils or whatever, and annulling down to just that mod. This works for both prefixes and suffixes on both types of amulets. Once you annul down to the mod you want, you'll have a rare amulet with one mod on it that you can then bench prefixes or suffixes cannot change and scour down to a magic base with just that mod. In many cases, this is the secret sauce to executing a less expensive amulet craft, as you can imprint to recover the base after a missed Conquer Orb Slam or YOLO Reforge Crit or Awakener Orb instead of using the much more expensive Hinakora's Lock method. At the time of recording this video, if you attempt this in Craft of Exile, it will incorrectly show the base as rare, but I'm sure that will be updated at some point soon to accurately reflect what happens in game. Second, let's start with a white base. One of the things I've seen parroted the most is that you can just alt spam for mods you want. Because of the reduced number of explicit prefix and suffix modifiers, alteration orbs cannot be used on these bases. Same goes for transmutes and augments. You'll end up with a blue base with no explicit modifiers. Third, and this is important if you are planning to imprint as part of your craft, and that is you cannot have a bench mod on either of these bases while magic. Practically speaking, it means your imprint is only going to have the mod you isolated on it and you won't be able to add a meta mod. If you need a meta mod to roll +4 gems, for example, you'll have to regal and YOLO annul in order to make the base rare with the modifier you want before adding cannot roll attack. Fourth, and this is a bit more expensive but can result in mirror tier bases for very rare combinations like essences and +1 all gems. When you split beast something, prefixes and suffixes will randomly be assigned to a base. If you were to essence for a rare mod like +1 all gems and you wanted both of those modifiers on a magic base, you can purchase an uninfluenced base that has not yet been split for roughly double the cost of a split base and perform the split yourself. If it's a prefix and a suffix, one of each, lands on one of the bases, it will still roll magic and can be imprinted. This is the only method I'm aware of to get two modifiers on a magic amulet base. Alright, let's do some crafts. The first two crafts I'm going to show you how to do is with focused amulets. This is one I finished with a normal or veiled suffix, and this is another I've hunter influenced and rolled +44% Phys multi on. These bases are capable of rolling +4 gems, which I think is what most commonly is done with them. And to start, you'll need an uninfluenced base. Uninfluenced is important because you cannot use the harvest, add, remove craft on an influenced base, so let's start there. Step 1 is going to be rolling +1 all gems on your base. Craft of Exile reports this will cost 867 chaos orbs on average, and I found that to generally be accurate. Next, we're going to isolate +1 all gems by annulling down to just that mod. This means that on average it will take you 3 attempts to isolate the modifier. Once you've annulled all the other mods, you're going to lock the prefixes and scour the amulet. I know CoE says that this will be rare, but at the end, the result will be a magic amulet with +1 all gems on it. Now that we have a magic base, it's time to imprint. We need to get the base back to rare with only +1 all gems, so we're going to regal and YOLO annul. This will on average take 2 attempts, though when I'm doing it here in this video, it took me 4. Once we have our rare amulet back with +1 all gems, we're going to bench cannot roll attack and harvest add remove Phys to give us the +4 gem prefixes we are after. I think Chris Wilson felt bad for me missing those 4 imprint Regal YOLO annuls, and so he gave me the +4 gems on the first try. Sometimes things sort of end up working out. It should take about 4 imprints in order for you to get to the +4 gem stage. To finish the suffixes for the Phys.multi amulet, you want to have an open suffix and will hunter slam it. This is a 1 in 13 to hit T1 Phys.multi on the first try. If you do, then great, you're done. If not, you'll need to buy some Hinokora's locks. It'll take you on average 3 to safely annul the suffix. And once you've done that, lock prefixes and reforge Phys for a guaranteed tier of Phys.multi. There are only 2 tiers, so if you don't hit T1 and are unhappy with that, grab a few more locks and go again. At the time of recording, this costs less than half a mirror on average to craft. If you wanted to finish your last suffix with a veiled mod like I did here looking for trap throwing speed, the process is very similar. You want to lock prefixes and aisling, or maybe you're looking for T1 crit multi and will reforge crit instead. Either way, if you miss the mod you're after, do not use locks to annul. Instead, YOLO annul, and if you miss, go back to your imprint from earlier. This is considerably cheaper than using locks. Repeat the process to get back to +4 gems, and then lock prefixes and go again until you're happy. For the last craft, I'm going to show you how to make a Simplex strength stacking amulet. The process is similar in that it's important to get an uninfluenced or single influence base to start. If you purchase an already awakened amulet, it will cost you a fortune in locks to complete it, so take care. Step 1 is going to be making it Shaper influenced. The best way to do this is by purchasing any Conqueror's Orb and then using the Harvest Bench to randomize the influence to Shaper. I choose Shaper because I think the Warlord suffix mod is going to be easier to source Awakener fodder for. Once we have a Shaper influence base, we need to Chaos Spam for increased attributes. Craft of Exile reports this will take 298 Chaos on average. Once we have this mod, we need to annul down to just this mod, bench Suffix cannot change, and Scour to make it magic. To be able to reawaken this amulet, we need to imprint it next. In fact, when you are buying one imprint, buy a pile of them. The final step requires a reforge influence 28 times. You'll be able to salvage and retry a third of those with YOLO annuls, but it will still take many imprints. Once imprinted, you'll awaken the space with the Warlord amulet that has only the increased strength mod on it. After that, you will need to annul whatever prefix rolled with the Awakener's Orb, lock the suffixes, and then reforge influence. If you miss, YOLO annul and try again. For whatever reason, the Sacred Blossom, which guarantees the white life force, is almost always cheaper than the life force itself, so save yourself some currency and buy blossoms instead. You'll also drop potentially valuable Forbidden Shakos, so there's that too, I guess. Alright everyone, I think that's all I have. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Take care.